and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble!
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Montana looking, wrong in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the man. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
Yes, welcome back to Sports and Sorts. This is episode 142, and this is a Monday. And what else do we got to talk about today? I think that's pretty much it. No, we go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, and you can also find us on iTunes or anywhere podcasts are played. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Shane Moore.
And I'm the Bry Man.
And you can check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/Shane and the Bry Man, where we post a bunch of stuff throughout the week. And you can also find out when we go live. And you can also follow the show on Twitter at Shane and Bryman. And what's on tap for today is the NFL Week 12 was played. A few things we wanted to talk about. One was a quarterback that we want to kind of see win a Super Bowl. We want to talk about that. We want to see what quarterback. I think me and Bryman might be on the same page, but we are kind of having a very, I don't know, it's not a passive conversation, but we were kind of talking in tongues and not really saying who we wanted. So now I'm confused as to who he might want.
Well,
So
we're
it might be
trying not to
completely
spoil anything for the show. So.
Right. So yeah. So they're we could be the same page. I thought we were going to be on the same page, but now I'm not sure.
I think it's one of two guys.
Okay.
I can narrow it down to two guys, but
Okay.
I don't know if one of your guys meets the. I can't. Never mind. I don't want to.
All right, and it doesn't have to be a guy who's won a Super Bowl. It can be you could be a guy that has won, hasn't won, whatever. You just want him to win again. So anyway,
And just to clarify, we will not
can't pick our own teams.
from our teams.
I am not going to pick Josh Allen
because that's a given.
I had joked. I said, how about this? I'll pick Ryan Tannehill if you pick Josh Allen.
And I don't even want to say Ryan Tannehill and that game in the same sentence. They don't belong together.
All right. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about little Baker Mayfield comments that happened when he had a post-game interview. He also had a little handshake hug gone awry that Hue Jackson seemed like he really wanted that hug, but Baker wasn't going to give it to him. So we're going to talk about that. We will also talk about Monday Night Football, which is going on tonight. We got a lot to talk about today in a short period of time. So we got all that. Got a great show, and let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Brian.
You know it's a Monday when you press the right button.
Yeah, that's great.
We get it right on the weekdays.
I got it right.
It's the Saturday shows that really throws for a loop.
It's so smooth. It's great. All right, so Baker Mayfield. We'll talk about him first because I have a feeling this is going to be. I think this might be a conversation we might go a little more in depth in, and I would like to know what other people are thinking out there. If anybody's listening yet, if anybody's listening, I'd like to know what other people feel about Baker Mayfield and his comments with Hue Jackson and his. The handshake, Hugh went and sought him out. This is a guy who was looking to draft him, wanted him, believed in him, and there's something there. I don't know if that's going behind the scenes or whatever, but there is no love lost between Baker Mayfield and him. So I'm going to play a quick clip from Baker Mayfield in his post-game press conference, and I want to hear what you guys have to think. I mean, I'm sure you've already seen it, but I want to play it anyway.
But our guys handle it the right way.
Is there any feeling in your mind that Hugh was the reason this team wasn't winning?
No. What it comes down to is we still have the same players. That's what I said when everything was happening. We just had to play better. You know what? You can put your own spin on it, but we have the same players. Yeah, we have people that we believe in calling the plays now.
With him, PC, was it a scene?
Woo. So, I mean, he starts off by saying, no, not at all. It's not Hugh. But we have, when that but comes, it's like, but we have a guy who's calling the plays now that we believe in.
People we believe in calling the plays now.
And we have the same players that we had before.
And the same, but right. First of all, my take on this whole thing is I absolutely, positively love it. I love it.
You were going to go that route.
I love it. And the reason why I love it, and especially the handshake thing, is because I can't stand, this is going to come out horribly when I say it, I can't stand all this sportsmanship garbage. I really hate it. Guys liking each other. I especially despise it in baseball. I used to hate so much when Derek Jeter would get on base against the Red Sox, and maybe he'd get a double, and he'd be sitting there joking around with Dustin Pedroia. That stuff drove me bonkers. Hue Jackson going in for the hug yesterday, and Baker Mayfield friend zoning him was awesome, absolutely awesome. I loved it. I don't want to say I hate sportsmanship. That's not the way that I wanted that to come out. But I love competitiveness and rivalries, and I don't like guys hating each other. And I like what Baker Mayfield said afterwards. He said, look, this guy was on our team. He was let go. He went to the enemy. We have to play him now twice a year. I'm not hugging this dude. I have no problem with that. I love that. And I like Baker Mayfield in general. He's the kind of guy I wish was the Dolphins quarterback. He's got moxie. He's a little bit arrogant. But you know what? If yesterday is any indication of what we think this guy might be, when he's got a good coaching staff and a little bit of talent around him, and he looks like he's got a legit running back and a really legit tight end, and he just, what he needs is he needs another receiver or two. I like Callaway. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say they're going to regret getting rid of Josh Gordon, but it really would have been helpful if he was still there. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, that guy is probably one receiver away from starting to make Pro Bowls. I have no problem with the way anything went down yesterday. And if you're Hue Jackson, I have no problem with what he did either. He got fired by the Browns.
He did sound like he had a lot of options.
No, and Marvin Lewis was like, I'll hire you. If I were Hue Jackson, I'd have done the same thing. So, my point is here, I have no problem with, either of these things. Mm-hmm. I have no problem with Baker Mayfield not wanting to shake that guy's hand. And obviously there's some bitterness there. There were some things that clearly went on in that locker room we don't know about. And, mm-hmm. and it will probably never come out in its entirety. But I think you're seeing, little drips of it here based on Baker Mayfield's reaction. But I also have no problem with Hue Jackson leaving and going into Cincinnati. There's no traitors here or anything like that. It's a job. It's a business. Yeah. And I would have done the exact same thing that Hue Jackson did. If I was sitting there, I was unemployed, Marvin Lewis because here's the other thing with Marvin Lewis, too, is that, not that he gets to handpick his successor by any stretch, but there's a good chance Hue Jackson takes over when Marvin Lewis leaves after this year. I don't know, and I don't know that it's something I would do if I were the Bengals, but there is an absolute possibility of that happening.
There's a chance. A small chance, I think. Small.
I have no problem with this either way. I don't mind a little competitiveness. I don't mind a little bit of gamesmanship here. And I have no problem with Baker Mayfield not liking Hue Jackson. I really don't, because I'm so tired of all these guys playing nice in the sandbox with each other in sports. It drives me bonkers.
It's really weird, though, when you're throwing shade at a guy like that who believed in you more than anybody else in the league.
I mean, you know what? From Baker Mayfield's perspective, he's not there anymore, and he went to the enemy. I have no problem with Baker Mayfield feeling the way he did. Listen, if this was Michael Jordan would find the most unique and ridiculous ways to motivate himself. Yeah. If Baker Mayfield needs to find some kind of motivation, who are we to tell him no?
I would get nervous, though, in the game of football, because in basketball, it's different. They can't come and they can't go after your knees. They can't do all, this game, you could tick off the wrong people, and then something gets said in the locker room, and now you have a bullseye on your back.
You know what? 9 out of 10 times, I feel like something like this, I probably would say that this was a mistake. This was not a classy move. Just try and be classy. Maybe Baker Mayfield's got some growing up to do or whatever. And that is probably also the case. But in this particular case, I really don't mind it. I kind of liked it. I kind of liked the fact that he didn't want to shake that guy's hand. This is still competitive. I don't know. Maybe it's the old school me, because I don't love all of this handshaking and hugging after games and hugging, talking to guys when you're playing or patting each other on the head. I hate that crap.
Yeah.
I hate that crap. When I played baseball, even though it wasn't, I didn't talk to the first baseman when I got on base or talk to the second baseman. I didn't like them.
Yeah, but
I was trying to beat them.
But there wasn't a chance that he was going to be on your team in, next offseason.
I never. Yeah, I
so
know.
It was kind of funny.
You know what? It's just listen. It's a different era of athletes. Yeah. I get it. They're all millionaires, so they're not like nobody's fighting for anybody else's money. I mean, these guys are all getting paid. So, it's just it's a different era.
For instance, one of the teams that we used to play a lot when I was in high school was Norwich Free Academy. NFA, we played them quite a bit.
Old NFA?
Yeah, we played them a lot, and there was a player on that team that I could not stand. His name was Ken Plant.
I was going to say, I want a name.
Yeah, no, I'll say, and I absolutely detested him on the other side because the way he played, he was hard-nosed, it looked like he was like a dirty player. But then, as luck may have it, I went to college. And he ended up being on my team in college. And you know what? After a little while, we became really good friends because we both played the game very similarly. And I found out that he hated me too.
There you go.
So it's one of those things that, when you play the game at a certain level and you don't talk to the end, I mean, but there's also a point where you're kind of like, you know what? Those are the kind of players you want on your team because of how they act. Yeah. Because they'll have your back no matter what and all that kind of stuff. And that's where you are. So that's how I felt going in. So there is a thing where it's like, yes, it's a competitive thing. On the other side, you don't really know how much you would like that guy or not if you played with them. So and if and going forward, if I saw him, if we ended up being on different college teams, later on, and I saw him and he was at third or something like that or playing, and I got to third base, I'd probably say, hey, man, what's up? Yeah. I'd still want to take him out on a slide in third, and I wouldn't care about it, and he would do the same to me. It's like
I just know when I played baseball in any kind of organized sport, I mean, unless it's like flag football on Thanksgiving morning, I mean, that's different.
You're not taking people's knees out?
No. But when I was just really I just wanted to beat the other. I didn't want to talk to them. Yeah, I didn't want anything to do with them.
I do understand. Yeah.
I just, we've talked about this before. I always channel my inner Thurman Munson, and I always think, what would Thurman do? That's a WWTD.
Punch
what would
people
Thurman?
In the face.
And I just, I look at and I know it's weird too because I didn't grow up in the Thurman Munson era. Right. That was a little bit before me because he was in the late 70s and I was born in the late 70s. But I always admired the way he handled himself. To me, he was the one true Yankee captain. That's why you love
people like Jorge Posada and Tino Martinez.
Right, I did. I did love guys like that. Yes, I did because they wanted to go out and win.
Your favorite, Hideki Matsui, he did not play the game like that. He was very quiet.
No, but he was very quiet and classy, and he could kill you in different ways.
Yeah.
And then there was my ultimate all-time favorite, Ricky Henderson, who was the greatest trash talking, third person referencing clown of all time. But
so the one thing that I wanted to mention about continuing with the Cleveland Browns game is Damaris Randall. How he stuck it to Hue Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
By giving him the gift of an intercepted ball.
Yeah.
That, to me, was hilarious. That I found hilarious. I was like, oh, my gosh. If you are Hue Jackson.
A little bit. I mean, look, there's some
and he took the ball and he's just going to, put it on the ground.
Yeah, and he sort of, put it out to the side. But he tapped Randall on the head, though. I actually think that was more of a lighthearted gesture than obviously than the Baker Mayfield thing was cold and a little uncomfortable to watch.
But I will say you're probably right with as far as the people in the Cleveland Browns clubhouse, the locker room afterwards, they're probably all fired up because their quarterback said that out.
Without a doubt, and they should be. They should be because the quarterback's the leader of the team, and I just have no problem with the way any of that went down yesterday. I like Baker Mayfield now more than I did yesterday, to be honest.
Okay, all right,
I really do.
All right, that might be leading us to our next question, our next topic here, which is which quarterback do you want most to win a Super Bowl?
Okay.
Particularly this year or in the short future.
This one was easy for me, but Okay, so I think for you it's one of two guys.
Okay.
But here's my thing. I don't know if you consider Carson Wentz to be a Super Bowl champion quarterback. I mean, he does technically have a ring.
He is not.
So,
no, yep, you're right. He's not.
So I would think that could be your answer but he does technically have a ring though. So I don't know if that's your answer or not. If it's not, I think you might have the same guy that I have, which is Andrew Luck. I want Andrew Luck very badly to be a Super Bowl champion.
As after he came back and beat your Dolphins.
Whatever. I mean, that was so inevitable. It was so funny because
I was talking to Cameron yesterday because we're watching the game, and I'm like, yeah, this is Brian's team, and they're currently they're doing okay. They're at that time, I think you might have been is either a field goal or a touchdown. I think you were up probably a field goal.
They were up 10.
Yeah, but when we were watching the game,
I knew they were. And the funny part was, I knew they were going to lose that game. Yeah. It was so inevitable.
But when
that's what it's like to be a Dolphin fan.
When Cam and I were watching the game, they were up by 3. And I was saying to him, I was like, I was like, that's Brian's team. And they're kind of faltering in the fourth quarter here. And I was like, I don't know how happy he is right now, but I bet you he's saying, I knew this was going to happen. This is absolutely going to happen. I could see it coming from the second quarter.
You know what? Not only did I know it was going to happen, but I think what bothered me most yesterday about that game was I'm watching it unfold, and I had no emotion whatsoever. I really just didn't care. Whoa. And that is the result of so many years of being a Dolphin fan, seeing that time and time again when you know what's going to happen. When they were up 10, I 100% knew they were going to lose that game. 100%. And I almost, as I was watching it, I almost called it exactly as it happened. I was like, all right, well, they're either going to get the touchdown here on this drive, or at least get the field goal, and then they're going to get the touchdown on the next drive, and then they're going to win the following drive. And you can sit there and say, oh, well, that's just pessimistic Dolphin nature. The fact that you got it right is not really, that's more coincidental. No, that is years of experience. And having gone through it so many times, that's repetition. And you just know how it's going to turn out every single time. And the fact that I didn't really care, that bothers me the most. Because the Dolphins, for me, I've told you this before, they're my second favorite team, all-time second favorite team behind the Yankees in all of sports. And it's the one championship that I don't have as a sports fan on any level. Yeah. And it bothers me that I'll probably not experience one in my lifetime, but at the same time, I think at this point I've really just kind of accepted the fact that this is who they are, and it doesn't really matter. The personnel doesn't really matter. It's just going to be the way it is. At some point, you listen. It's the 5 stages of grief. Once you get to acceptance, there's not too many left after that. So, okay. I mean, but listen, to answer the question, 100% Andrew Luck. I love Andrew Luck. I really want to see him win one.
Perfect. I mean, Andrew Luck is a guy that I definitely want to see, but he's younger, so I'm not really all that worried. Carson Wentz, I'm certain that he's going to win one in the.
Oh, I know who you're going to say. I should have thought of this too.
And it is the guy who is kind of like Baker Mayfield. Not the biggest arm in the world, but has he can make throws, and bit of a trash talker. One of the best trash talkers that there is in football right now. And that is the man over in the Chargers uniform, Phillip Rivers. Dan
Marino of
the
modern era.
I would love to see him win a Super Bowl. And this year, he has, now that he has Bosa back, and he's got Gordon, as long as Gordon can stay healthy. He hurt his thumb. I don't know if he broke it or if he sprained it or something like that, but he hurt his hand. And they do have the team that could make a run. They could beat any single team on any given Sunday.
Yeah.
And especially with having Phillip Rivers, who has made comebacks, he's made big throws, he has good wide receivers. They have the ability to do it, and I would love to see him get there. I would love to see him win it and go off with an MVP, because he is a guy that I've always wanted as a quarterback. I think he is just one of those guys, talks trash, backs it up, super competitive and fiery. And that's something that I didn't appreciate until probably after he was in the league for about 5 to 7 years, because it was one of those things he rubbed me as completely arrogant, like to the point of like it's like I can't even take it. But after hearing other players talk about him and stuff like that, you found out that he is just completely competitive. He's fiery and he just wants to win more than anything. And I love that. So I that's the guy that I would choose is Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers would be my guy.
If I had actually thought about it a little more, he probably would have been mine too. But I'll stick with Andrew Luck. Just so we have different answers.
Too. It's just because, and it only has to do. I took age into account because he's obviously in the back end of his career. And, Andrew Luck is kind of in the middle and Carson Wentz is at the beginning. So those are guys and there's going to be guys that come up down the road that are going to be, that I'm going to have that feeling about, when they get a little bit older. Baker Mayfield might end up being one of those guys. I don't know. The Browns have a very talented team and they could win a lot sooner than you think. But, Phillip Rivers would be my guy. I'd like to know what other people think, but, we have Clint. He posts, Allen isn't getting the message, #PickWatch, because he knows those Bills. We need a if not the number 1 overall pick, we need a top 3 pick.
Well, you can forget about that. You guys have won too many games.
Well, we've won 4.
And that's too many.
But right
even
now,
if you lost out, you're not getting the number 1 pick.
It's going to be close.
I mean, first of all, they're not going to lose out. They're going to play the Dolphins. They still got 2 games against the Dolphins. One of them they're winning. They might win next week's on the road too. So,
your Dolphins have a winning record, don't they? Or they just
they're 5-6.
5-6 now. So we're 4-7, and I will say the one thing that I learned from this game with the Bills yesterday is the Jaguars are a smarter organization. That's all I learned is because this team realizes they need a quarterback, and their only way to do it is to possibly get a good draft pick, and they need to get a top 3 pick. And in order to have a chance to get Hebert, and that's the only chance that they had. And right now they're 3-8, and yet that yesterday's loss got them in a little step closer to getting there because the Cardinals have 2 wins, the Niners have 2 wins, 1 or 2 wins. The Raiders have 2 wins. There's a bunch of teams, and any team can win another game. And if you have 3, you're in a position. Yeah. To possibly get one of those. Now, 4 is going to be tough. I'm hoping for a top 3, 4, 5 pick. But it seems like because I just wanted to pile up more picks. I wanted to get that number 1 pick, and I wanted to trade it away.
Your defense is too solid. Your defense is too good.
Yes, they are. They're very good, and they have been for years, and that's how they got to the playoffs last year. Is their defense?
But that's going to help you. I mean, you're going to win games.
If they were smart, they would have. I would have absolutely continued to play, like Peterman or Anderson or something like that because those guys were just throwing picks left and right.
But you can't do that because you also need to get Allen the reps.
Right, and I think that you do that when you have it more solidified, when you have a top 3, 4 pick more solidified. Because, Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes played 1 game last year. 1. This year, what happened?
Here's where I stand with that though.
Yeah,
when you have drafted your quarterback, I understand you want a top pick, but if you're fighting for the number 1 pick, you're generally looking to try to get a quarterback. Mm-hmm. The Bills don't need that. Right. They have their guy. So to me, it's more important to get him reps. And if you win a few games, I think the benefits there outweigh the fact that you could get a lower draft pick.
I think he's been great.
But you want, not only do you want him to get the experience and the reps, but you want him to be able to get a taste of winning if he can win a few games here and there.
I don't want him to get hurt.
No, I understand that, but
because his O-line's terrible.
Come on, look at injuries in football are just crazy. You could get hurt,
but you can limit him a little bit. Like he's not a big runner. I mean, he does run the ball from time to time, but he's not a big runner. So he's not gonna get hit on a regular basis like running the ball. But you need to protect him, and right now he has no O-line. He has a running back who's very much on the decline.
Here's the other thing,
no tight end. He has
if offensive line
as wide receivers.
If offensive line is your target, and that's what you're going to probably want with your first pick, you don't need the number 1 overall pick for
But
that.
you'll
get a good lineman.
No,
in the
you
top
can
5
get good
picks.
linemen, but if you had the number 1 overall pick, you could trade it to a team who needs a quarterback, and now you have an abundance, and you could load up on linemen, and you could easily try and find a tight end. You wouldn't have to just get a lineman and then hope that you get a tight end in the second round. I mean, they have a couple of picks in the first round, they have a couple of picks in the second round. They have a lot, but they need more, because in order to have a chance sooner than later, and to really give your quarterback with the defense that he has, that defense is eventually going to get broken up, or they're just going to get hurt, or there's going to come a time where that defense isn't going to be there anymore. Yeah. And that's what makes me nervous, is that you have a small window. You have like a 3-year window right now where your defense will probably still be there. And I get nervous about it. I don't know. It's tough. Yeah, Clint says mediocre picks make mediocre teams. As Brian's very aware of.
I know all about that. The perpetual 16th pick. I just don't think the Bills are going to get I still think they're going to get a top 10 pick, which to me means you're going to get a top 10 player in the draft, and that will probably be one of the elite linemen in the draft. If that's what your biggest need is.
We need a couple linemen.
Let's put it this way: your team has a much better chance of addressing its bigger need more than my team does. My team clearly needs a quarterback, and the Dolphins at 5 wins, even if they lose out, are still not going to get a top 5 pick.
Yeah, you're going to have to wait a year. And if they keep playing Tannehill, who's going to get you 6 to 9 wins a year, that's going to be even worse.
I'm so tired of. 6 to 9 wins doesn't win you a Super Bowl. It doesn't even get you to the playoffs. I just want them to cut Tannehill, save the $18 million in cap space that it will provide, which will be helpful. Go trade. What I would rather see them do is trade their number 1 pick this year, their number 1 pick next year, and the number 1 pick the following year. Move up as high as you can and get your quarterback if there's the guy that you like. Mm-hmm. If whoever it's going to be, just go get that guy. So at least that there's some kind of hope. And I don't mind you mortgaging your next 3 drafts to try and do that, because that's how you have to do it in the NFL. That's how you have to do it. You just got to go. You got to go for it. You have to. There's risk. Of course, there's risk. You could set your franchise back another 5 to 10 years, but there's no in the NFL. To me, when it comes to the draft, there's not a lot. There has to be some risk, maybe, to reap the rewards a little bit. And to me, if you're the Dolphins, you've got to do something like that, because you got to blow this thing up. Yeah. After that loss yesterday is proof to me that they need to blow it up entirely.
Yeah. Get rid of Gase too?
Yeah, he's got to go. All right, Gase has got to go. I wish they could get rid of Tannenbaum too, but Steve Ross that's his boy. So my guess is nothing really changes significantly on the coaching staff for the Dolphins. They might fire a coordinator or two, but Gase will still be there next year. Tannenbaum's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I think they all get one more year together. And I even think Tannehill's unfortunately coming back, because apparently we don't know his ceiling yet after 7 years.
That's the problem. All right, so let's go. Let's dive into. We could talk about the Bills Jags brawl with Leonard Fournette, but I don't really want to get into.
Well, you know what?
But Clint also mentioned the Alabama O lineman. The only thing that ever worries about me with anything from Alabama is their players don't usually translate very well into the NFL. Now, I think that an O-lineman is more likely to than like a quarterback or a running back or something like that. But I get a little nervous with them just because of, the head coach that they have over there is a different kind of motivator, and he's very good at recruiting for college. I just don't know how good he'll translate, but I do think that, if right now, that's who I would choose to.
There is one thing I want to say about the just really quick. The Jaguars have got to be the biggest disappointment in years. That team was supposed to be close to a Super Bowl, if not there, this year. Mm-hmm. And now all they're doing is getting in fights. What a joke. What an absolute joke that team is. And you know what? They're a team, though, that can bounce back, I think, pretty quickly, but the change has to be made at quarterback. And they should have been more in on Kirk Cousins. I don't know why they weren't. I understand that they were doing that whole thing when we love Blake Bortles and look how far he got us last year. But if you had to know, I'm sorry. If the entire sports world of fans, people who don't get paid to do what, like, the Jaguars front office management does for a living know that Blake Bortles isn't the guy, then shouldn't you know that too? Like I, myself, and every other legitimate Miami Dolphins fan knows Ryan Tannehill is not the guy.
Right.
We've seen 7 years. We don't need any more years to find out if there's ceiling beyond what we've seen. So if you're the Jags, how did you not know that? What are you worried about hurting Blake Bortles' feelings? Come on, give me a break. That guy is a mediocre, run-of-the-mill, very average to below average quarterback. He's in the bottom third of starting quarterbacks in this league. In fact, if he was not the Jags starting quarterback right now, I don't believe at all that he would be a starter anywhere else in the league. No. I think he's a backup. I hear Blake Bortles and I hear backup.
Yes.
To me, that's who he is. And the Jags, you want to talk about like teams with windows? I don't understand that was the one position you needed to address to probably make the next big step.
Yep.
And you didn't do
doubled
it.
Down.
You doubled down on Blake Bortles, and now you're paying for it. By the way, we may have some baseball-ish breaking news. I'm not sure if
nothing's popped up on my screen yet.
Well, this is from the Yankees text group. I don't know how legit this is, but apparently Manny Machado is flying to New York to have a sit down with Hal Steinbrenner.
Oh well, that was kind of because Hal said he wanted to meet him. So yeah. I don't know. Well, that'll be interesting to see what happens.
But you know what? But you know what this tells you though. If Manny Machado is hopping a flight to go to Hal Steinbrenner, he wants to be he wants to be a Yankee.
Yeah.
I mean, like in the worst way.
I mean, who wouldn't want to be?
No, the Yankees, I'm telling you right now, man, we said it before. Remember, I said it a week or two ago that I went from thinking this was maybe a 10% chance to be at a 60-40 chance. Now I'm going to up it to about 70%. I really think there is unfortunately a way too good of a chance here at this point that Manny Machado is going to be a Yankee.
All right, let's get into the Titans versus Texans this Monday night. Who you got?
Well, it's funny because the topsy-turvy Titans like to go back and forth. They're the most inconsistently consistent team I've ever seen. Win one, lose one. Win one, lose one. Well, they lost one last week, so theoretically you would think they should win this week, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Texans are going to beat them. I think the Texans are on a roll. This is clearly their division. If they lose, they really create a major cluster in this division because then you'll have three teams really in the hunt. And especially now with the Colts having won 5 straight. But I think the Texans keep it rolling tonight. This game is in Houston. Even if it was in Tennessee, I'd kind of still probably go with the Texans. But I just like the way the Texans are playing. They feel like they're hitting on all cylinders. And I know you're thinking to yourself at some point they got to lose a game, right? Because I think they've won like 7 straight. Mm-hmm. So it's like you feel like at some point it's got to stop. And with the way the Titans play, again, being up and down, you would think, well, maybe this is the team that can do it because maybe they were down last week, so you figure, they'll be up this week and get that win. But I don't think so. I don't think they go on the road and win this game. I think the Texans are able to move the ball tonight. I think you're going to see a lot of DeAndre Hopkins sprinkled with maybe a little bit of Lamar Miller just to kind of keep the defense honest. And I think Deshaun Watson will have a good game. I like the way the Texans are playing right now. Their defense is solid. I would expect their defense to get a couple of turnovers tonight too. Titans are not the kind of team that can bounce back from making too many mistakes. They don't have the firepower to do that. So I like the Texans pretty big tonight, I guess. I'll go with 27-17. But it might not even be that close.
Ooh, we have very similar scores. So I have the Texans winning as well. I just think that there's just too many weapons. I mean, the Titans have a good defense, but I just think that, with the pressure that they can put on the quarterback, the Texans, the pressure that they can put on the quarterback, and Mariota I haven't been a big believer in Mariota for the last 2 years. Like, I just kind of got to that point where I was like, either he's going to go over the line or he's going to just be who he is, and he's just who he is, which is an average quarterback. And I think he'd be a really good backup quarterback, but I think, he's one of those that's probably the lower third. He's kind of like where that Dak Prescott, and I think Dak Prescott probably even has a little higher upside, just because he's a bigger body. But I am really thinking that the Texans are getting a little healthier. I think that Kiki is coming back this game. He's going to come back and he's going to be able to catch some balls, and it's going to be. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how this game plays out, just because, as you said, the Titans have. They beat the Patriots. They have come up and had some big wins against big teams, but they also sometimes just throw up absolute stinkers, and I think that's because of Mariota. Like, he just can't score a ton of points, and I think that's a problem when you're playing the Texans, who can score a ton of points, and they score a ton of points every game. I have the Texans winning 30-17, which is just a little bit more than you. I just think that it's going to be a little bit more of a blowout. Going to be closer to 2 touchdowns. I think that early on, you're going to see kind of a relatively closer game, but then it's just in the second quarter, third, and it's just going to start slowly. Mariota's not going to be able to catch up. He's not going to be able to make some big throws to catch up, and at that point in time, then he starts making a lot of mistakes. So I just have no faith in that in the Titans being able to win this game, which I probably would have said this almost the same exact thing when they played the Patriots, but. For some reason, Bill Belichick doesn't play very well against his assistants. So I don't know. I see, as you said, Deshaun Watson. He is almost unguardable. When it comes out, because he runs so well, he can throw the ball with pretty darn good accuracy, and he has a strong arm. He just has all those weapons, and his offensive line knows how to protect him.
Yeah, I tell you, Deshaun Watson.
He's got Hopkins, who's.
Yeah,
if I was going to start a team with a receiver, it would probably be Hopkins, because you don't hear anything from him really. He's not like an Antonio Brown who's throwing a bunch of fits on the sideline. He went through a time where their quarterback situation was horrendous. And you never heard him really come out and just start trashing quarterbacks left and right, trashing his team. He just goes out there, plays hard, jumps through the building, has great hands. He's just incredible. And that would be the guy that I'd probably start my wide receiving core with, just because he's so talented, so fast, got great hands, and he's everything that you want. And he's not a bad clubhouse guy, it doesn't seem.
No,
but I can't say I'm a big Texans guy either. So I can't say that for certain.
I don't think I would disagree with you on that. I think I'd probably start a team with him too. If I had to pick a receiver, I think I'd start a team with him too. Well, you see how good he is too when he's got a good quarterback. Yeah. He's struggled through a few years with some.
And he still got like 80 balls, but
that's how good he was. Yeah. By the way, how did we do with our picks this week?
You did really well. I think you went.
Did I call one of the? Did I get? I was wondering if I got the Seahawks game spot on or close.
No, what was the final score? It was like 20.
I thought it was
24, something like that.
I thought it was 30-27 Seahawks.
You had 24. You had 24-18.
Oh, okay. Right. I don't know why thought I got, but I did. I did get that was an upset though, right? Kind of.
Yes. Yeah.
So I did.
I had the Giants over the Eagles, and I thought I was looking pretty good. And then all of a sudden, the Giants
you were.
Just stop playing. They just forgot how to play. Their defense, they just kept on running the ball right up the middle, and it's just like they just couldn't stop them.
If you're a Giants fan, look, your draft
Eli
pick
played well too.
Eli played well too, but your draft pick has worked out.
Yeah,
Saquon Barkley is clearly a stud. Mm-hmm. So, and I know,
but even in the second half, he couldn't find. There was times
once you know what a team is going to do, it's easy to.
But Saquon Barkley, he had opportunities to get lots of yards, but instead he tried to do that bouncing out. Instead of just running north and south, which he could have picked up 5 or 6 yards a couple of times.
A little bit of Barry Sanders in him, maybe.
But he's not Barry Sanders. That's the problem. So he tried to do the Barry Sanders kind of thing, and instead of gaining 5 or 6 yards, he would lose a yard.
A little dancing.
Yeah, and he had open holes, and they even called him out on it. And when the commentators they called him out on it, they were like, "You need to just plow through right there. This isn't college. You can't. You can't do that."
He'll learn that,
right? And it's unfortunate because that could have made that could have been a big deal because they could have had more first downs, which obviously is a big deal.
That's a couple of coaching tips away from getting fixed. I don't think that's.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, he's a very talented guy. So
a heck of a rookie campaign for him, though.
Absolutely,
so far. It really has been. I mean, the Giants. If you're a Giants fan, it's hard to be upset about that draft. I know you maybe wanted Sam Darnold, but I mean, come on, Saquon Barkley's a stud.
No, I didn't think he was going to win the Rookie of the Year. I think Sam Darnold's going to be the best of that lot going forward. Like,
we'll see.
Quarterbacks. Because
Jets have a lot of work to do in other areas, though. So.
The Jets, yeah, they have a terrible team. So, but I mean,
they lost to the Dolphins twice. It's not good.
Hey, they need to get an offensive line as well.
The Jets were competitive yesterday. It was 13-13.
They're in the same boat as the Bills. What's that?
The Jets were a little competitive yesterday with the Patriots. It was 13-13 for a while.
I mean,
and then until it wasn't. Yeah. But I mean, they hung in for a little bit.
Yeah, got a little rope-a-doped, and then all of a sudden, Patriots came out and started firing all cylinders.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's it. I mean, unless you wanted to talk more about the Manny Machado thing.
No, I don't want to talk about Manny Machado anymore. I'm really upset about that. I'm starting to really think that that's what's going to happen because the more you think about it too, with the James Paxton acquisition, the fact that James Paxton didn't really is not costing them any money. It's a total wash because when they trade Sonny Gray, those contracts are gonna be a wash. So there's no additional salary.
I'm waiting for them to actually trade Sonny Gray. I don't know what's taking.
Oh, come on, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
It's taking so long.
It's gonna happen at the winter meetings. It'll happen next week.
I think it was a and I don't trash Cashman very much, but I think it was a bad move on his part to say he's trading him. Like, you can tell all the GMs and stuff that you're trading him, but you shouldn't come out in the public and say that because that then he loses value.
Well, I thought that, to me, the most shocking part was just the amount of transparency around Sonny Gray. It's almost like Cashman's pissed at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we can't wait to get this guy off our team. Like, he'll be good somewhere, but clearly not in New York.
Right.
It's the most we've known that about other players, and they have been traded.
Yeah.
But this is as transparent as that's ever been for anybody with the Yankees that I can really remember, where Cashman has publicly said he will not be a member of this team going forward. I mean, imagine if they couldn't trade him and then you were stuck with him.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, it's, he must obviously know that there's a lot of suitors out there for him. And I understand that too. Like, I get that. If you were to make a trade for Sonny Gray and you were any team but New York or Boston, I think it would make sense. Probably not the Dodgers too, but other than that, I think
that'd be fine. I mean, they don't treat their media like that. The media don't treat their players like that.
I mean, it could be a little harsh in LA, but I still think he'd be fine out there.
I think it's worse probably in St. Louis.
I think the Giants are a good landing spot for him. I think back in Oakland's a good landing spot. I don't think Cincinnati's a good landing spot, just because even if he pitched well there, what's the point? That team's going to be dreadful. I just don't. I don't know. I see him back on the West Coast. It just makes more sense. I could see him in Arizona too if it was a right fit, But as far as Machado goes, I think you better start. Again, you want to talk about being in the acceptance stage? I think Yankee fans, whether you want him or not, you better start accepting the fact that that's probably going to happen.
There's a chance. I still have faith.
I think it's a good chance.
They don't need him, and that's my biggest problem.
Right, that's the problem. They don't need him.
They don't need him, and
it's a $30 million a year headache for 10 years.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That is where I don't want to see. I don't want to see this huge contract. Like, I don't want to see 10 years for 300-something million.
I'm concerned about these two big contracts. Look, if they can somehow trade Stanton, fine. But I don't think you can trade him.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Because the Dodgers, to me, are the only team that could take that contract, and I don't know why the Dodgers would do that. The Dodgers, I'm sure, wouldn't mind having the thump in their lineup, and we know Giancarlo wants to be there, so it might help them a little bit. But I wouldn't. That's just a hard contract to move. I think the Yankees would have to eat some of that money, and they don't want to be eating that money. I don't know. But I think Manny Machado is going to happen. I really do. You make a move like Paxton, where you trade away a guy like Justice Sheffield to get Paxton. Paxton's not going to cost you any money on your payroll. You're still literally playing with the same amount of free money that you had before.
Yep.
To me, that's a signal that you're going to spend big on one person, because it still would allow you to go make a trade for another pitcher if you wanted to, or acquire another starting pitcher, and probably get the two relievers that you want to get. Get into the acceptance stage, Yankees. Manny Machado's coming to New York.
I don't understand why the Corbin signing hasn't happened yet. There's a lot of things that I'm not clear on.
Again, I'm not surprised by any of this. I just think a lot of this stuff doesn't happen until the winter meetings. Baseball just takes the slower pace with free agency than football.
They already made a splash with Paxton. Like, why not just go just get it done? Like, stop delaying. Like, there's no reason. Just stop delaying. I understand that Corbin's probably fielding some offers and stuff like that.
I think there's a lot of competition for Corbin. He's a left-handed pitcher with good stuff. There's got to be a lot of teams that want him. I mean, look, I know he probably wants to be a Yankee, but I mean, if you're him, look, this is your one big shot. You gotta take advantage of it. You're gonna get a 5 or 6 year deal. Yeah, I mean, he's getting a 5 or 6 year deal.
And you
for
get
well over $100 million.
You get that after you get a 3-year option in there, where you can possibly do another re-signing, and just go for it. Let's do it.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm getting antsy. I am getting antsy. So that's just me though.
Yeah.
I have a little sneeze in my nose. But
a sneeze in your nose.
In my nose. It's wanting to come out. All right. So thank you guys for watching today. If you haven't yet already, please subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up if you haven't. Subscribe to our channel at YouTube. You can type in Sports and Sorts in YouTube, and you will find our show no problem whatsoever. Our channel. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman. You can find us on Twitter at Shane and Bryman. And you can find me on Twitter at iHomersFinkel.
You can find me on Twitter at _Bry_man.
And, of course, you can always hear our audio-only version of this podcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and your podcasts are played, or www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com, where we go live every Monday at 10. Wednesday at 11. This Wednesday might be a little different. And we have Saturdays where we go live at 10 a.m. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll be back with you on Wednesday. We'll let you know as soon as we can what time it's going to be on Wednesday. Normally 11. This week it's probably going to be a little different. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for commenting.
Stay classy.
Thanks for talking to us, Clint.
Thank you. Clint, thank you as always for being interactive.
Yeah.
Now go play some Golden Tee.
Oh, Golden Tee is the best.
It'd be kind of cool if we could go over his house and play, but I think we'd have to hop a flight to the state of Washington.
Yes, it's not close.
It's not what you would call close.
No. That's an expensive trip to play Golden Tee.
Just move back to Connecticut.
Peace out.
All right, bye.